We've seen so many games with Sweet Baby Inc.'s name attached to it crash and burn, and it doesn't look like that trend is going to stop anytime soon, because now we're finding out that development has ended on Hyper Light Breaker, as this studio Heart Machine says it's making layoffs. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, sometimes there are really good games that Sweet Baby Inc.'s name is attached to, and then they fail because people don't want to support that narrative consultation company. And this is one of those titles that had gotten a lot of positive reviews from the people who played it, and there are a lot of fans that decided, you know what, this prequel is really cool, but a lot of gamers decided to stay away from it because of SBI's involvement, and maybe this game could have been more successful if this studio decided, you know what, we don't need to bring an external group into the mix and we can just create our game ourselves. I personally think that if you have to hire another company to tell you how to change your game, you're probably not good at your job. Maybe you don't even deserve it. But now we know that another SBI title is going under. So it says the studio behind Hyper Light Breaker is ending development of the game and confirmed it will be laying off some staff. Now, within the gaming industry, there are a lot of layoffs going on. There are a lot of studio closures and project cancellations going on, but SBI has the highest kill rate in the industry, that's for sure. Even when the games that they're working on look good, and even if they are big titles like God of War Ragnarok, for example, they still face major controversy, and rightfully so. It says the game is a prequel to Hyper Light Drifter, but rather than an overhead pixel art action adventure game, it's a third-person polygonal one, much like the difference between 2D and 3D Zelda games. I think that this also hurt this title. People were expecting it to be similar to the first game, and then they decided to drastically change it, which I don't think was a solid strategy. It says, though, user reviews for the game have been mixed during its early access phase, with 67% of the 2580 reviews it's received to date being marked as positive on Steam's digital storefront. So it is technically more positive than negative. And like I said, there are a lot of people out there who did really love the first one and enjoyed the second one, but they had a really long early access period. It seemed like this was a game that maybe wasn't being developed at the speed that they originally intended. So as we can see via SteamDB, the all-time peak 9 months ago was 5,230, but it never got even close to those numbers again after launch, because the 24-hour peak is 23, and as you can see, it only held that 5,000 for like a single day, and by the end of January, by January 31st, it had already gotten down to 176, and then there are a couple of upticks. There's one in February, there's one in May, there's one in September, but it never went over 350 players again. So the numbers for this title were always pretty pathetic, and if you also look at the scores, they were not super great either. 65% are positive, 34% are negative. It's sitting at a mixed, and it's just not a good look in general. So it's really no shocker to see why they ended up, stopping development and why they didn't want to put any more money into this. Now the studio has confirmed that the early access period is ending for Hyper Light Breaker after around 9 months, with development on the game coming to an end. So this game never came out of early access. It was actually delayed by 2 years. It was supposed to release in 2023. Then, of course, it released at the beginning of 2025 into early access. And now it's never going to come out of EA. It is always going to be that way. The development process is ending, and they also confirmed that they are going through layoffs, though they haven't confirmed exactly how many people will be affected. Though last year, around this time, they actually went through layoffs. So at this point, they have clearly laid off a significant portion of the workforce. We do not know if they are going to make another game in the series. I would assume probably not. And it just was a disappointment for a lot of people, especially the gamers who do not want to support a company like Sweet Baby Inc. Now, I don't think Sweet Baby Inc. was the only reason why this game was killed off. I think that it did significantly hurt the game's image, but at the same time, I think that they didn't deliver on their promises. They were not able to uphold all of the different things they had told people they were going to be putting in the game, and even the time frame in which this game was going to release. And we do know that SBI had worked on this game in a couple of different ways. They helped on early world building, story structure, the story in general, and character development, which is good enough for me to pass on a title like this, and a lot of people feel the same exact way. I had made a post about this online. I just had put the Sweet Baby Stink logo, and a lot of people are commenting, it's sad. I love Hyper Light Drifter, but at the same time, it is what it is. Good first news I read when opening X. Oh no! Anyway, did SBI have a hand in it? It was a sure failure, so good thing they canceled it. People pointing and laughing, and the same thing is happening on the VGC thread about it. Have a meeting with their marketing team and just terrify them. What will happen if they work with SBI? That's a Kim Belair quote. You have to terrify people you want to work with. Definitely great. SBI detected, purchase rejected. This is so sad. Only some staff. The game just didn't look interesting. A good majority of third-party games these days all look the same color palette, same art design, and same boring story and game mechanics. Man, come on, who could have ever possibly have seen this coming? Them being thrown into the trash, all woke slop will flop. They make awesome games. Let's hope they survive this, and maybe in the future they could come back and they could make a better game, but I do highly recommend they stay away from an extremely controversial company, because when you work with an entity like this, you are bound to run into major problems. Gamers have become very vocal over the past 2 years about narrative consultation companies who we really do not want to monetarily support, and Sweet Baby Inc. brings nothing to the table. I have never seen an instance where a story is amazing that they've worked on. I've said to myself, maybe they helped this game become the masterpiece that it is, because these people are not writers, they are not developers, they are not talented, they are not creative masterminds, they are grifters. They do not care about the state of the video game industry, they do not care about the project you are hiring them to work on. They only care that you swiped your credit card and signed on the dotted line, and they are making money off of you, and that is why I do not want to support them. They are not passionate, they're not talented, they just care about finding a way to worm their way into our industry, and it's sad that so many companies have bought into their BS over the years, and I do hope that going forward, less and less companies end up working with them. But another game has gone under. Hyper Light Breaker is going to stay in early access forever, I suppose. Game development is ending. They didn't deliver on really any of the promises they made to their customers, and now they're laying off staff. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.